planned it at least right after.
We're close.
Huh?
We got 5:30. Clerk, can you lead us in the pledge for all the work you've done this week?
I think I can.
Oh, that's great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Jenny David.
Here.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Here.
Brenda Simmons. Here. Craig Scott.
Here.
Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Well, you want a schedule change?
Absolutely. So where would you like to put that?
Well,
Under new business?
yeah.
Item
sure.
C.
Item C.
Any other additions or corrections?
I gotta add one, please.
Go ahead.
Grand Traverse County. Jail. That'd be for the sheriff, under sheriff and Tom.
I figured under their department head reports maybe, or would you guys like that on the agenda elsewhere? I got the email. I'm assuming we all
I'd
did.
like it on the,
Oh, sure. Where, Commissioner?
Business D.
wherever it fits.
So D, any other corrections or additions?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with corrections, with additions.
Motion from Commissioner Scott,
Support.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any further discussion?
Yeah, what was C?
C is schedule change that we just briefly discussed for next Thursday. And then D is the Grand Traverse inmates. We received an inmate email this morning from the undersheriff. Any other additions or corrections or any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Declaration of conflicts of interest.
I have
Any,
none.
any commissioners? Any declarations of interest? Review of minutes, July 25th, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
I read the minutes, so I'll make motion to accept them.
A motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll support.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. August 1st, 2024, committee of the whole meeting minutes.
I've read the committee whole minutes. Add support.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Wiltie, support from Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, August 1st, 2024, closed session meeting minutes. Those were here in front of us.
Yep, I just read them.
You making a motion?
Yeah,
I'll
Motion-
support.
Motion from Commissioner Mayhew, support from Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 5, public comment and agenda item manners only. Any public comment in the room? Come on up, sir. And this is on an agenda item?
No.
Oh, then Commissioner Scott.
Oh,
This is on agenda items only.
The second one is.
The- Commissioner Scott. Stop. Yeah, there's 2 areas of public comment. Okay. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Any public comment on the phone? Item 6, correspondence. We received correspondence from Asaba Valley Community Mental Health Authority, Northeastern Michigan Community Service Agency, and Clinton County related to the opposition to MDHHS conflict-free access and planning proposals. Those have been received and filed. Item 7, consent agenda. Would you guys like to take these independently?
Yes.
We got item 7A, resolution to authorize a grant application for MSHDA Michigan Neighborhood CDBG grant. That is, Leanne came to us and talked to us about that. This resolution is sponsored by Housing Consulting Service LLC Program Manager Leanne Fisher. Ogemaw County is interested in the continuing effort to improve the existing housing stock and increase area home values to directly provide energy efficiency and health and safety improvements to eligible households having incomes equal to or less than 80% of federal poverty level per U.S. Department of Treasury guidelines. The county has demonstrated a need for this assistance outlined in the Michigan State Housing Development Authority Michigan Neighborhood Program. Approval of the resolution will authorize Housing Consulting Services LLC to submit an application to the MSHDA Michigan Neighborhood Program on its behalf in the amount of $200,000.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize a grant application for MSHDA Michigan Neighborhood CDBG funds.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wiltie,
Support.
support from Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Roger Mayhew.
yes,
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Brenda Simmons,
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes. Item 7B, resolution to authorize an agreement for an audit of internal controls and accounting procedures. This resolution is sponsored by Administrator/Controller Timothy Delahoney. On May 13th, 2021, the Board of Commissioners approved Resolution 21-502 accepts the proposal submitted by Manor Costorison to perform an audit of internal controls and accounting practices. On July 30th, 2021, Manor/Costorison completed their review of the policies and procedures of Ogemaw County for the purpose of reviewing their adequacy of oversight in internal controls. The Manor/Costorison report noted that efforts have been made to put controls in place and reconcile accounts, but the county would need to establish updated procedures for documentation, accountability controls, and consistent processing related to financial practices. The Michigan Department of Treasury has approved funding to establish the updates procedures for the county's various departments in an amount not to exceed $18,400, with the Department of Treasury covering 80% of each invoice paid for this project. Approval of the resolution will allow acceptance of funds from the Michigan Department of Treasury and to authorize use of up to $4,600 allocated to the contingency line item for required matching funds.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
Motion for Commissioner Scott,
Support.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Discussion? It will cost us, just to be clear, out of the 18,400, it'll cost us $4,600 from the contingency line item. Is there a time frame on this, Tim?
Not yet.
Like it will happen though this year? Like,
Well, it definitely will happen this year, yes.
any further discussion? Roll call.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Brenda Simmons,
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David,
No.
Roger Mayhew.
No.
Item C, resolution to submit the electorate a special millage question for authorization of funding for animal control and shelter services. This resolution is sponsored by the Committee of the Whole. The Board of Commissioners has allocated funds for animal control services over several years, including an allocation of $45,430 in fiscal year 2024. Public funding for animal shelter services in the Ogemaw County has been limited to contractual agreements for housing of stray dogs. The Board of Commissioners desires to continue providing animal control services and to assist in providing a more sanitary, humane, and efficient animal care system. Approval of the resolution formally petitions the county clerk to place a special ballot question for authorization of funding for animal shelter services on the November 7th, 2024 ballot. Someone like to entertain a motion?
Me.
Motion from Commissioner Simmons? I'll support that. Discussion? I read through the, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
My comment is this, if there's no sense in having an animal control person if we don't have any place to take the animals. That's my only comment on this.
This millage supports that position, supports housing the dogs. And that's pretty well it. I read through the millage that you had, on our iPads, and it looks like for 2 years is what you had on there in point 2.
Right.
Which is very minimal.
So if this goes on and fails, then we won't have animal control or a place to take the animals. If it passes, then we will have animal control and a place to take the animals.
Comment?
It will pay for the dogs that are housed there, not the place, not the facility. But the dogs that are, am I reading that millage correctly, Tim?
Right, that's the intention, yes.
Commissioner Wiltie?
Well, the current shelter is a private company and we have no control over that, so. We don't know if it's gonna close. I've never heard it's gonna close.
Well, if it doesn't, then we take them someplace else.
Right, that's what that millage, that's what that millage is. The millage has nothing to do with the actual facility. It's
Exactly.
covering our costs, right? We just want to make sure that what you're saying is clear.
Oh, yeah, they can go to any shelter.
So this is totally different than the last millage question. The last millage question would fund a shelter of our choice.
Right.
Right.
Now, this doesn't fund anybody's shelter.
Didn't fund anybody's shelter before.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Like I mentioned in the past, think of it this way. The funds will follow the dog. So where the dog goes, the intention is the funds will follow. The principal difference here is though, this question will add the animal control officer to the overall expense.
Right.
That's the only change.
But before, we were gonna search out different shelters and award a shelter with money.
In all
No.
likelihood,
I didn't think that was it at all.
Commissioner Simmons, go ahead.
what we would want to do is establish where those animals are going to go. We will do that through our normal bidding process. We will
Right.
find out where they're going to go and write up a contract so that if we bring you a dog, this is what we expect to have covered. And then we will specifically list what those are. So there'll be, health testing when the dog comes in, food, water,
Okay,
facility, the whole shot.
okay.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call vote.
Brenda Simmons.
Yep.
Craig Scott.
No.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes,
Item 8, new business, NEMSCA annual report.
I'm gonna squeeze out here. I was just telling Tricia, my colleague, these are the same chairs we had in our old office before, and they're so hard to move. Thank you very much for allowing me to present our annual report today to the Board of Commissioners here in Ogemaw County. My name is Frances Omani. I'm the Strategy and Development Director for NEMSCA. And just as a reminder, we are a community action agency. We are your community action agency. We're one of 27 in the state of Michigan, and there's over 1,000 across the country. We have been around for over 55 years. Actually, next week, it'll be our 56th birthday or anniversary of being created. And we are a trusted agency that has been around for that long, providing programs and services to help empower people to live the best life that they can. So today I just wanted to go a little bit over our annual report and talk about some of the amazing things that we've done this last fiscal year. So when you open up your annual report, on the page to the left, you'll see a message from Lisa Bowen, our Executive Director, CEO. And when you're reading through her message, she does give a shout out, of course, to the support that's very important for our community members, our elected officials, and human service agencies. We're all working together to try to achieve the mission of helping people live the best life that they can. So thank you very much as commissioners in this county for being an advocate for us and an ambassador for us. To the right, you'll see a couple maps there. The top map shows our core county area. So of course, Ogemaw County is included in those blue counties, meaning that you're one of our core counties, which means that we provide over 30 programs here in Ogemaw County. You'll see Roscommon is a different color because we share Roscommon with Northwest Community Action Agency, which is headquartered out of Traverse City. They're our sister agency. The map on the bottom, the second map, shows what our extended coverage area is. And those counties that are above and, greater than our 11 core county area are our Head Start preschool program. So with Roscommon and our Head Start 21 counties, we actually touch into 22 counties with at least one of our programs. You'll see the services provided. That is a breakdown of some of our services, and some of them are grouped, such as the Area Agency on Aging. We are unique actually as a community action agency to have the AAA under our umbrella. So Region 9 Area Agency on Aging is part of our programs. And so how that works is they have some standalone programs such as care management and My Choice Waiver and other programs that they're providing services directly out to the community, but they're also partnering with our local COAs and providing some of that funding and that monitoring for the programs that they provide to the seniors in our area as well. Moving on to the next page, this is our board information and our board highlight. We are a tripartite board, meaning that we have 1/3 that are elected officials. Historically, we've always had county commissioners that represent the elected sector. And so currently Commissioner Simmons is our county commissioner on our board. So thank you very much for being a board member in the last couple of years. We appreciate everything that you've done and the meetings that you're attending and your input when it comes to our board meetings. The other two sectors consist of consumer sector, which this is super cool. Consumer basically means that somebody that falls under that sector on our board either are low income themselves or represent low income. It's really important to have their voice at the table when it comes to our agency. And then the final third is our private citizens. So these are people that bring their own expertise to the board, believe in our mission, and want to try to make a difference with us along with the staff. To the right is our financial overview. So the top is the graph that shows how we're funded. And this does fluctuate sometimes from year to year, but not usually significantly. And you'll see that for fiscal year 23, we were just over 61% federally funded, just over 36% with state and other various contracts, and the remaining was local or in kind. Now, the bottom, it shows, I want to bring your attention before I go to the pie graph there. The bottom corner, the left corner, is a very significant number that we're super proud of as an agency. And basically what that is that 96 cents of every dollar, or 96% of all of our funds that come to us, go right back out into the community. So our operating administrative overhead, or what we call internally our indirect, is less than 4% of every dollar. So that's pretty significant, and that's something that we're super proud of. Now, when we look at that graph below, you'll see a breakout of our programs and basically our expenditures. And you'll see letter A is our Early Childhood Services Division. That division incorporates 3 programs. And typically when I'm out in the community doing presentation, when people hear NEMSCA, they typically hear and they think of one program, which is Head Start, because it is our largest program. And you'll see it, those 3 programs represent more than half of our budget. So I did bring a special guest today that I wanted to introduce you to, because she oversees those 3 very important programs. So this is Tricia Griffin. I wanted to have her talk a little bit about her programs and then the impact in Ogemaw.
Hi, I'm Tricia Griffin, Early Childhood Services Director for NEMSCA. We have, we serve over 2,800 children in preschool services and infants and toddlers and pregnant women. So we do home visiting in Ogemaw County for especially our pregnant women and infants and toddlers. And we have 2 preschool classrooms as well that use state and federal funding for 3s and 4s. We do a lot of comprehensive services with our families. They volunteer in our classrooms. They volunteer in other ways to support children and the community. And that's reflected in the volunteer hours. You flip the page. Over 154,000 hours volunteered. That's not all of our parents' hours. There's other volunteers as well, but that's a significant portion. So in order to receive services, a lot of our families volunteer as well. At the top, it's 2,812 children that received services last year through our Head Start, our Early Head Start, and our Great Start Readiness program. So again, blending state and federal money to serve children in Ogemaw County. We have 1 classroom in Rose City Public Schools, and the other classroom is in West Branch here, just off of I-75, near across from the pit by the gas station. We've been there many, many years. And we hope to continue for a really long time providing services for our preschoolers and get them ready for school. And not only getting them ready for school, but getting their parents working, going to school, and volunteering in the classrooms and contributing to the community. Any questions about preschool, early childhood? It's a big topic right now in the state, pre-K. Any questions about that?
It was the best 5 years of my life.
5 years.
Well, if you think of anything afterwards, you can always email me or ask Brenda to communicate with us and give Tricia contact information. But I thought it was important for her to come and talk a little bit about her really important programs that we have. But of course, those are 3 out of the 30 plus programs that we have. So continuing on page 6, there's some more breakdown of some numbers that I chose to include in this year's annual report. Every year when I talk to our data guru people that track all of this, I'm always blown away by those numbers that they give us as far as what the amount of impact it was in our communities. And you can see going through there that 344 homeless people received support. 2,000 senior citizens were able to live in their homes and not go into the nursing homes because we had in-home care for them. 3,760 youth enhanced their academic careers in our school success partnership program, which we do have a school success liaison here at the alternative ed school here in Ogemaw County as well. But one thing, when you're pulling this data, which is super important when you're presenting and trying to, keep your funding and things like that, those numbers are very important. So sometimes it's really easy to forget that each one of those numbers represents a story, right? Each one of those numbers is an important person that we were able to help. So this year I pulled 3 stories to just kind of highlight. The top one is Eric. Eric was homeless, reached out to us, was able to get some support from our homeless and prevention services crew. And now he is living in a home. Last I heard, he's employed and he's spending a lot of his spare time with his family because he's in a safe place now. The family in the middle is a grandma that's raising her grandkids, which happens more often than we probably think in our area. She reached out to us and was enrolled in our Bridges of Self-Sufficiency program, received some support and some tools to help her get through some of the challenges that she had as being a grandma raising her grandkids, which this is another shout out. We do have a program that's called the Kinship Care Program that provides support for grandparents that are raising their grandkids. So if you know of anybody in that situation, have them reach out to us. And then finally, we have a volunteer that's being highlighted below that. The next page on page 8, this is where we're giving some more shout outs to some of our clients that were enrolled in our programs in the past that were honored at the state level at the Capitol. This is a picture from last fiscal year springtime, where we had some volunteers and some clients that were recognized by our elected officials down at the Capitol for all of the hard work that they did. And then you can see our executive director and some of our staff as well. We had a new early childhood center that opened up in Tawas during this last fiscal year as well. And then to the right, there's some information about TruAlta, which is a really great resource that's online for caregivers. So people that are taking care of family members or other kin or friends, sometimes they need that support themselves, right? Because that's a pretty draining job to have. And then there's more information about some trainings and conferences that we had. Finally, on the last page, we're really proud to say that for the 4th time, our agency was honored to be awarded and recognized by the Top Workplace Award that was given by Detroit Free Press. So that's a picture of us there last fall. That we were, and that was the 2nd consecutive year in a row. So that's super cool. And then the last picture you see is Dorothy Pinter, our community programs director, who also is the director of school success. And she's down there receiving a governor's service award for all of the hard work that her particular program that she grew in the last 30 years tremendously and has had such a big impact on our youth from kindergarten all the way to alternative ed. So with that, I wanted to open it up for if there's any questions or comments or anything at all about our programs or anything that you thought of in the last 2 minutes for Tricia.
Questions, commissioners, comments? Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Commissioners,
Thank you both for, appreciate it.
No, I don't have anything.
Commissioner Simmons?
I've got it,
You sit
yeah.
on the
Very
board.
thorough.
I go to these meetings and before we arrive, the rest of the board, they have committees that meet. And they were like, well, they take every area they have very seriously. And they give a report to the rest of the board at the end of those meetings after we had something to eat, so we feel good about everything. But yeah, they're a very well run organization. They do so much for so many. And I see that every time I go to a meeting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. I have one thing, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I forgot to mention, there is a flyer that I passed out as well. We do have a relatively new program in the last year that we have some funding available for people if they have metered water. Now, I know in a lot of our rural areas in the Northeast Michigan, that might not be applicable if they don't have metered water and they're on a well. But if you know of anybody as neighbors, community members, or constituents that have city water or township water and they want to see if they can get some help with paying their bill, have them reach out. Hector's our intake person. He's great. He'll be able to help them through that process to see. And what's really cool about that program is you don't have to be past due. It can be just somebody that falls within those income guidelines. And even if they're not past due, maybe we can help pay a little bit towards it. So now they have a little extra money for grocery, right? So just wanted to make sure that you were aware of it as well, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, claims. Claims this week were a total of $105,192.69. I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Let's support.
Commissioner Scott and I reviewed claims. Commissioner Scott, do you want to take the floor?
You just had some questions on something. Did you get the answers for that?
I did. It was related to, well, I think you were investigating. I didn't get clear answers yet, but I know you're bringing more to come because it has to do with our budget as well.
Yep, got it this morning.
Oh, so do you want to, is that on for committee of the whole or
Sure, that'd be a great place for it, yep.
there's some costs with the courts?
Yeah.
And neighboring counties. Anything else you seen on there? It was very low, very low.
Yeah, no, nothing stood out. Nothing really stood out to me.
The electric bill
Yes.
for the county building was $15,000. For some reason, that always sticks out. That's a lot of money.
But they like it. They like it cool, but not too cool, I guess, but. Yeah.
It was
Stuff like,
$15,000.
I don't know, I was at Denise Simmons' office the other day and she said it was cold, but I clarified that it was cool in there.
I'd like to make a comment on that.
Go ahead.
Tim, we had asked, and I think you're preparing that for us, some data on the last number of years.
We're very actually a 5-year trend, so we can see it and tying it to the right building, which was an issue. We've cleared it up, but I'll reorganize the data so that the right bill goes to the right building and we'll see the amount of energy we're using and see if there are any spikes and anything we might be able to do.
It has been individualized, like that 15,000 was just the county building. And I know when I've been doing claims, they have been for different buildings.
Yeah, some of them though were put in the wrong category on the data that we collect, so I don't know if it was the jail or the sheriff's office or the county building, but a couple of them are switched around. So anyway, we've gotten all that cleaned up and we'll give you good accurate data to work with.
Any other questions?
Say the amount again.
$105,192.69. Roll call vote?
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes,
Brenda Simmons.
Yep.
Item C, schedule changes. We briefly discussed when we all got here. Next week is the Ogemaw County Fair, which is a very large event for this community. And Thursday night is the auction. I think we've moved that around in the past. Do you guys have any suggestions?
I know another Mills by Township meeting is Tuesday at 6. What are you guys thinking? Wednesday,
I don't care.
Tuesday?
Wednesday, I work the gate for the fair, so I can't do Wednesday evening. I always volunteer.
Monday?
I don't, but does Monday give them adequate time to prepare a,
I can't come Monday.
what do you have Monday?
Meetings. Monday night.
Does Tuesday work for you?
Yeah, matter of fact, I put it on Tuesday.
Yeah, pardon me?
I put it on Tuesday thinking maybe that might be what it might be.
Commissioner Mayhew, do you have,
Fine with me,
what is,
Tuesday.
what time's your Mills meeting?
6
How long does that typically last?
hour.
What are your thoughts there?
Think they'd excuse you one time?
You could, but I don't like to miss them.
Yeah, well.
Well, we got 3 of us for Tuesday,
I understand, but I mean, typically our meetings are Thursdays and
correct? But we have 3 votes right now for Tuesday. Even though we're trying to accommodate, do you have any other ideas?
How about Sunday?
Earlier meeting?
On Tuesday? I could do that. That's, I'm asking for ideas, guys.
Uh,
We'd like to try to accommodate everybody.
It's a priority for me, so I don't care.
Tuesday does an earlier time.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I could be here by 4.
Oh,
That gives us an hour, hour and a half.
4?
Okay, right. Tuesday, 4.
I said earlier, I thought 9.
I got
I was thinking 9 in the morning,
a
know.
budget meeting at 9.
Does that work on your schedule?
Yep.
Tuesday at 4 work for you? Okay. Grand Traverse, inmates, I know Commissioner Wiltie wanted this on. Would you like the sheriff and undersheriff up here and, Mr. Howard? You guys have? Is that what you had in mind?
yes, please.
According to the email, it looks like this is just very, very early, so
8 o'clock this morning.
that's what I read.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
Musical chairs.
Okay, as you all know that we received an email at 8 o'clock this morning from Grand Traverse County. They're having staffing issues over there and they would like to bring 40 inmates to our facility to house. Right now, it's kind of a temporary situation. But, if things go well, I'm hoping this could result in better things, so. Tom had called there, so what I'll do is let him have the floor and tell you the conversation that he had over there.
I talked to Captain Barshep and Lieutenant Argyle today, just a short period of time, mostly trying to feel what kind of inmates they're gonna be sending down. And throughout the conversation, it sounded like it would be more of a long-term relationship with them. They're gonna send it down like some sentence, some misdemeanors, and majority would be felony inmates. But they would be not their assault of kind and stuff like that, because our staffing's light too, because they don't wanna send issues to other jails. But the conversation went really well. So they were very,
What type of staffing issues are they having? Did you elaborate?
not with me, they did not.
So I called them first before I had Tom call them as far as logistics of, working with their inmates and whatnot. Their numbers are high. They currently house with two counties, Benzie County and Leelanau County. And then they have their own internals that they have there. So they are having staffing issues, which are being faced all over the state. We talked about ours in the previous one. They want to move some of their inmates out to relieve some pressure on them on a basically an emergency almost situation currently. And then, as Tom said, there is conversation, there is potential this could turn into a long-term relationship as far as housing. Oscoda was pretty nice about how they described the services they were provided. If we show Grand Traverse the same type of courtesy and services, I think we could stand a chance at establishing a long-term relationship. The conversation that I had with them was at $35 a day per person, with 40 inmates, but they could start Monday. I want to say it would be next Monday.
Week from Monday.
Week from Monday. They could start bringing prisoners that soon for us to start housing, and we could progress from there. So.
Did you say you offered them $35 a day?
I told them that the cost would be 35 based on previous conversations. That would be, the LE committee had talked with Oscoda, and so I just, to get a starting point, I wasn't negotiating, just letting them know what the cost would be 35.
Commissioner Wiltie?
So that'd be Monday, the 19th. So they said that they're looking for 40. And then they didn't give any type of time frames of this emergency status, how possibly long they're thinking.
Again, they weren't real sure as far as an actual time frame for it. They did indicate they could look at pulling some of the prisoners back if their situation changes, but also with the conversation with Howard, could be in talks and consideration that we would be, instead of, Benzie or Leelanau, or we would be a desired destination for their overflow, or when they had situations they needed some. So that could be something we can negotiate after we establish the emergency and taking care of them, and then move forward with some type of, what's the long range plan. It was talked about before. They were talking about the millage and everything. This would provide a revenue source from now until whenever, if you want to go back to the millage question, or we'd have time to develop this relationship and see if it's going to materialize into a longer term commitment. Just some things that I was thinking about. But the revenue could start, or streaming in as soon as the 19th, as far as billing.
Tim, did you have something?
Yeah, and we had a brief conversation about this today, and today it happened, so obviously we haven't had a great deal of depth yet, but as I mentioned to the sheriff and the undersheriff, where we're sitting with the budget process, the clock is ticking pretty loudly, and unless we can get some certainty that we're going to have this revenue flow for the entire fiscal year and not just on a temporary basis, it's extraordinarily risky for us. We already know where we are with the budget. Now we're teetering. If we even had gone with millage in November and were to staff our facility through the first quarter and didn't receive that millage, you saw what that impact would be on the general fund. Definitely going in a direction opposite of what we'd like to see. I mean, great idea and a great number, but until and unless we can get that absolute certainty, a commitment from Grand Traverse County through the fiscal year that's going to literally stabilize the funding that we have to put into the jail, I just would tell you, it's very risky. And we don't have a lot of wiggle room to work with, as you know. So we've got a little bit of time, literally a matter of just maybe a few weeks. If we can lock it down in a couple of weeks, I think this is definitely something that would be worth consideration. But short of that, I'm afraid that time is up. Decision has to be made about what we're going to do to stabilize the county's finances. And to just base it on goodwill, another county says they think they'll be able to sustain this. That's frankly, it just doesn't reach the threshold we're going to need to have.
Commissioners, Commissioner Scott?
What was her reaction when you told them that we charge room and board?
Oh, I guess I didn't breach the subject as far as housing costs. I just kind of assumed we're already doing that with Oscoda. So their inmates
Oh,
will
I
be
was
charged
just-
accordingly. I didn't.
I was wondering if they would have a reaction to that.
I wouldn't think so. After we went through the exercise with Oscoda. I think that would be acceptable to them.
What's gonna happen when one of them has to go to the hospital? Are they gonna send a car down here and take them,
Or we charge them for any personnel.
So
that
you
we have to-
explain that to them, that we charge for hauling them to a hospital?
That'll be worked out, yes, I mean. Can I
Okay.
explain that to them in today's conversation? Or I was trying to collect information.
Well, I mean,
so we can
that's,
discuss, but
if you're gonna give them one price, I would think just let them know the whole package. You know,
and that would be worked out. Again, this would be on the emergency basis to start, just
Yeah.
to get things established, and then we
Well-
will fine tune as far as. Because they were talking today, and that's why I had Tom call to get some more logistics. We'll have to work out some of those logistics.
Okay.
They'll be coming, they're talking more circuit court inmates as opposed to district, because there'd be less travel time back and forth for them. The schedule is extended out. so
they're
they-
bringing them here. We're not going to get them,
They
right?
would drop them off, and then when they had court, they would come pick up 5 and drop 5 other ones off. That was what was discussed just in the infancy stage today, but again, it could start as soon as the 19th. Fine tune some of the details, see if we could get a longer term commitment that you're talking about.
Question, Paul. So who did you guys talk with, David? They have a jail administrator, or did you talk to the undersheriff?
We talked to a captain, lieutenant, they were available, so they tasked this lieutenant to reach out and find this. If we had the opportunity, and then the lieutenant captain participated in the conversation to discuss as far as their issue, where they're at, what they need now, and
Because I know we made a real point of it. I know this was quick today, right? I mean, the email came in this morning and this is really new. But after the whole deal with the Kalkaska situation and the lack of conversation and contract talks with our administrator, who should be right there at the table. Is this something, obviously these talks are gonna have to happen, like start tomorrow morning again. I mean, I would like to see, a conference call with you and Tim and Tom, whoever needs to be at the table with their people. So that can all be transparent.
yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's two different things. There's the emergency aspect of it, we can accept it, and then there would be this negotiation or contract to see if there's a long-term commitment that could be reached. So we would be like with Roscommon when they had COVID, we're still waiting for Gladwin as far as their repairs at their jail facility. They told us they were gonna be bringing us their inmates when they finally got that established. The initial onset, what they're asking for is similar to those circumstances. But then any actual negotiation would obviously take place within the established guidelines.
Right. So actually the Gladwin deal, that's a whole nother possible revenue source. But we don't have any specific timeline when their construction's gonna be.
No, we didn't give a specific time.
They still don't know that? They don't?
I haven't called down and talked to him, but he hasn't reached out to me either to give me a heads up on a date.
Why, I guess, why the emergency up there? You said 40 inmates. I mean, that's large. Why the influx of inmates?
I can't speak for really what goes on in Grand Traverse
Wow.
County, but I know they're already housing at two different facilities plus their own.
Their jail's only 177 bed jail, and they're probably close to 5 times the size of Ogemaw County. Population wise, they house in Leelanau and Bendy right now, and they were housing down in Fenton or somewhere down there. I forget when I talked to them earlier, when I picked somebody up there, that's why I was reaching out to them. Cause we're
think
a
it's
lot
up here.
closer, or look here, yeah,
Here.
cause we're so much closer. That's why I reached out to them to try and bring the Fenton ones
That was,
up this way.
excuse me, that was about 4 months ago, right?
I think so,
We had
yeah.
talked about that and we had reached out to them.
So I guess moving forward, more information to come and we gotta gather this fairly quickly. Is there a scheduled meeting for the next couple of days that Tim can participate in?
Well, this,
We haven't scheduled anything as far as a meeting. We just came to communicate what we're currently at. We can start accepting them on the emergency basis as soon as the 19th. We can set up some meetings as far as telephone or however that is, as far as a long-term commitment. You know, we've already discussed the millage and that was brought up before. One of the thoughts was this would give us that extra money to cover that period of time that we were questioning, at least the idea that came to mind, that if you wanted to bring that back to the table and consider it, a millage of some sort that could get answered, this revenue could cover that gap until that's answered. It would also give us more time to negotiate and see if we could get a long range. But again, this is just conversation.
Right.
Commissioner Simmons, did you have something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. It sounds like there's nothing in concrete, not even started in concrete. And that would end up, for a full year, we had 40 inmates every day from them with $35 a day, be $511,000 a year. And I hear the word potential, possibility. I don't want to base our budget on potential and possibilities. I just don't, because we're in over our neck right now as far as finances go. We're at a negative everything. We don't have a fund balance. We have nothing. And if it wouldn't be for the special funds, we wouldn't be able to pay our bills. Even right now, we wouldn't be able to pay our bills. I just don't know if I'm willing to take that chance on another whole quarter on a possibility and maybe. You know, it's not concrete. If you don't have a contract and it's not a guarantee this many inmates and this much money all the time. And this, I mean, this is some money, but you know, when they say it costs almost $70 per inmate, $35 is half of that. So, I mean, are we gaining anything? Are we going deeper in the hole?
Can I add?
Hold on. Well, she's not done.
Well, I want to just add to her
I will.
question to that, because there's more to the revenue.
Go ahead.
But I just want to, but this revenue and stuff, as I see it, is on a maybe and possibility. And I'm not willing to sacrifice this county on a maybe and a possibility. That's all I gotta say.
Commissioner Wiltie?
Well, again, it is more than $35 a day, and we still haven't figured out how to be able to capture that money in a timely manner, but we do have the lodging costs on top of the daily fee.
I know that.
Yes, the way to capture money right now is not set up for us to be able to consistently capture that money, but I think we can work harder. We can figure out ways to capture that money more. I just think right now, obviously, I know this is last minute, but I think some aggressive talks need to happen. I'd like Tim to be involved on them. I mean, we're looking into all options right now of everything. I mean, I think we need to look into this. I mean, on the emergency point of it, I mean, if we know we can have some people come here, Tom and his people, they feel good, we can get them here, even on the short term. And that's a revenue maker.
Commissary.
Commissary funds as well. So I'd like to move forward with some aggressive talks and try to see what we possibly can maybe come out of this.
Commissioner Scott?
well, the only people I'm hearing that this is a possibility of longer term is this team here. When Gladwin was sitting in our building and we asked how come they didn't tell us that Gladwin was sitting in the building with inmates, they said, we have a mutual aid agreement. And when another county has an emergency, our agreement says that we'll handle them. Okay, bought that. Well, this is an emergency thing. You don't have to come and talk to us. This is already a mutual aid agreement thing. You know, you put them in there. They need, there's a county that's in need of some housing and we have some open beds. Fine. You know, I don't have a problem with that, but we're now painting this whole new picture here. You know, we're sinking out there and all of a sudden this little flotation device gets thrown off the ship. Any other day, you wouldn't have told us a thing about another county coming over. They would have just been shipped right in. We didn't hear about the Kalkaska guys till they were already here. You know, just like Gladwin, they were already here because it was an emergency. And then it was explained to us, it's just a mutual aid agreement between sheriff's departments. Okay, go ahead. Put them in there.
And again, we can do that, but I think it's important that we have this conversation because are we really going to ask our reployees to step up to another level? If the end result is we're repurposing.
We don't even know.
Commissioner Scott, let him
I'm
finish.
still on a,
He was speaking. Be respectful. Go ahead. Are you done?
Yeah.
Sheriff?
well, we don't even know for sure if they even want to be here any more than temporary. That's what we got so far from them.
That's, yes,
That's all.
I'm not gonna disagree with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right now, it's temporary.
we don't want to put words in their mouths.
Correct.
I
Well,
appreciate,
it's important for them to get in our door.
I appreciate the email this morning. I think we all appreciate the communication. I agree, it sounds temporary. I think at least it's a step possibly in the right direction. Is there a sense of urgency here? Absolutely. I think, and I was gonna add this underneath possibly, when we were discussing a few things, you guys brought up a millage a couple times. What was the deadline for the November millage?
13th,
Pardon me?
August 13th. Tuesday, is that
Tuesday.
So, I guess I don't know if we were gonna talk about the millages, if we were gonna go there, but if that's a possibility, again, you guys just brought it up a couple different times. I think this is worth a shot if it helps maintain our jail. I don't disagree with the cost and the budget, by any means, but, we have to remember that jail does employ, citizens of Ogemaw County. They have families, they shop in this neighborhood, they eat in this neighborhood. And if that jail, does close, the chances of it ever, as Commissioner Mayhew has stated, the chances of it ever reopening will be bare to minimum.
Not close.
I'm not done talking, Commissioner
All
Scott.
right, but we're not closing it.
Commissioner Scott, enough.
Jeez, oh man, why you keep saying it?
Commissioner Scott. So if there's any way to bring in revenue, it would be greatly appreciated. But again, this has to move fairly quickly. So whatever you guys are able to pull together, as we've all asked for help, would be greatly appreciated. Commissioner Simmons.
Under this mutual aid agreement, how much money do we get per inmate?
35.
We do get 35. And so when we have an emergency, they get 35 from us per inmate.
That's for emergency purposes.
Yeah. Do you ever see that coming from other for inmates? Money?
Oh, yeah, whenever there's a bill that goes out, yeah, the treasurer records it in. So you'll see that in your monthly budget reports. You'll see the revenue line for inmates housed from other counties. So they're all included in there.
Not just Ascota County.
Right.
You guys have said you've shared inmates like with Aranet County for whatever reason. So there's that agreement. Did you have something?
Yeah, the deadline is the 13th on Tuesday, but it's 4 o'clock for the wording. So if that is a possibility, the meeting starts at 4. So just giving you information.
Anything else to add to this?
Me, I'm just not willing to take it, I'm not willing to take a chance on maybe.
I would like,
Not for the entire county, this is our county.
I would like to add this to committee of the whole on Tuesday. As much information as you guys are able to gather would be greatly appreciated in writing if possible. And again, I agree with Commissioner Wiltie. I would like Tim at the table. I don't know if the law enforcement committee, I don't know where all you guys sit on all of this, but
Can I,
go
question,
ahead.
is there any way we could move our meeting up to 3?
Yeah, I can. I'll try to maneuver that, I guess. I guess I didn't realize the verbiage was 4 o'clock. I mean, is that?
That's, I double checked the calendar just to make sure, but it does specifically say clock.
I don't think that would work anyways, though. We can't vote it committee of the whole.
You can, we'll just make sure we post the meeting differently, but we did this once before on a resolution because you're already meeting, it's a posted meeting, it's legitimate under the Open Meetings Act, you can. I will get with the attorneys to make sure we have exactly the right wording on there so we don't get tripped up on a technicality. You can still have a regular committee of the whole, you'll just be able to make a decision.
So law enforcement, are you guys able to meet possibly before our committee of the whole? To answer some further questions you guys can bring back to us?
I'd be willing to, like I said, I mean, I think obviously these talks have to get aggressive quick and. If there's anything that we can do to help, I don't know what that is right at this moment, but.
Any
For anything.
shed of light is greatly appreciated. Commissioner Scott,
Well, 2 things.
go ahead.
Any commissioner can make a motion today. It's a meeting.
We're in a meeting.
You're gonna have motions for adoptions coming up. You got matters on the floor. You're in the middle of it right now. So if you want to, you can say it right now. The other thing is statutorily, by state law, we have to have a jail, a lockup. So to say you're gonna close the place, it's no, we're not gonna close it.
Anything else, Commissioner Scott?
Nothing.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for your comment.
You bet.
Anything else? Go ahead, Commissioner Simmons.
I still think it's a big chance and you're not gonna have a contract by then, and I'm not willing to spend 25% of the budget and keeping the jail open is a big flop. That's a lot of money. I mean, right now we have $400-some thousand we could save. And that'd be starting of a fund balance for us. But if it doesn't work out, that money's just gone. That's all I gotta say.
That's fair. Again, there's gonna be,
We've had supposed to have plans before, the plans before didn't work out, and we still had to lay the people off, and they still got paid for a whole doggone quarter before we laid them off, so we wasted that money too. I'm not sure that I wanna do this on a maybe and a possibility.
that's fair. Tim, will you have any further information from Roscommon at Committee of the Whole on Tuesday?
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I think we've drilled that home. Unfinished business, any? Administrator / controllers report.
As always, you have a great report in the meeting folder. As I had reported earlier today at the opioid settlement committee, we did receive some additional funding since this board met last from a few of the settlements. We currently, if my math is correct, should have about $1,083,258 in that fund right now. We just had a very good meeting with the committee just prior to this meeting starting. We really seem to have some momentum as far as the direction that we're headed. So I think you'll see some recommendations coming soon from the committee about how some of those funds could be utilized. Another matter I wanted to just point out, and particularly for anybody viewing on the YouTube page, our recommended budget is on our webpage. So if anybody wanted to review that, it is there and ready for review. If we were to make any tweaks to that, we can update what's on the webpage. Just, once the meeting is over, we'll just update the information there. So that should be kept current between now and the time you actually vote on the budget itself. So plenty of opportunity there to review it, ask questions, what have you from the public. And then lastly, this is in the report, but I was a little concerned with the Rite Aid closing here about our flu clinic, our flu shot clinics that we do here annually. And ironically, just as I was thinking about it, it seems both Meijer and Walgreen called, and they're both interested in providing that. So we'll definitely be able to continue doing that. I'll need to flesh out a little bit more about their criteria. Rite Aid was good in that they just simply, if they were an employee, their insurance card covered everything. We had to meet a minimum number, I think it was 10 people, and then there was no additional charge to the county. I hope we can get something similar from either Meyer or Walgreen, and we'll be able to continue that process. I think that's pretty important, just that we're able to offer that. And I just hope we can continue to do that, but it looks pretty positive right now.
I had a question. It says in your report that you met with Representative Mike Hoadley.
Right.
And you just said general discussion about county issues. Anything in specific?
Well, of course, we were fishing for any kind of grant money that they might have available, and he didn't have a whole lot of positive to say about that, but we did get some of our issues at least on his radar. So that if anything does pop up at the state level, I think he really seemed willing to help and to step up. And it was really good having that contact as well. I mean, our representative in Lansing stop in. Nice sounding board, and I appreciate he has many counties that he covers, but it's good to make that contact. And Commissioners Wilsey and Scott were there as well. I thought it was a very positive meeting, even though we didn't come out with a check. But I think again it gets us on his radar too.
I had a question for you. I know last year we brought each authority to I don't know if it was committee of the whole or regular scheduled meeting, and asked them like their fund balance before we made the decision as far as millage rates. What deadline, when are we looking at doing that?
So right now, you're on schedule to deal with that on our second regular meeting in September, and I don't know the date off the top of my head, but that
Okay.
fourth Thursday. And I think we had them at a committee of the whole meeting actually, because we were working through budget questions, but either way, I can certainly schedule to have them come in.
Because last I did a 911 meeting, I had brought it up to Jesse because the budget was discussed and she hadn't heard anything from you as far as a time frame. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Tim? Commissioner Woodsey?
We haven't heard anything back from West Branch.
I
DDA
seen that.
in regards to the conversations we started.
No.
Was there a plan on that? Was there?
We're just gonna have to continue to move forward and try to see if they make any decisions. We'll stay on it.
Comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Scott.
When we talked to Representative Hoadley, we talked a little bit about the state stepping in with emergency manager, and he didn't put it either way, but the possibility's out there still. The state has not discontinued doing it, so. I mean. So, we put the question to him. That's it.
Any questions for Tim? Thank you. Elected officials and department head reports. Clerk?
We are in the middle of canvassing the election. We have 10 more townships to go. Hoping to get that done tomorrow. It's taken us about a half hour each. So I asked them today, the Board of Canvassers today, if it was an issue, if we were close to being done, if they minded staying until 5 or 5:30. Do you guys have a problem with that? If we're just in the commissioners' chambers? Just the
No.
5 of us?
No.
Okay. Cause if we just have 1 or 2 more to go, I don't really want to go into another day on Monday. I want to try and get this wrapped up as fast, well, not as fast as we can, but I want to get it wrapped up. We had 214 people for early voting, which is less than February.
Wow.
I heard a lot of people say the construction, that was a feedback that we got. Maybe that was an issue. I'm not sure. Tuesday's election, we had 30% voter turnout countywide. Well, that was including the 214 for early voting, so, which that's about normal for August. We are obviously with November being the presidential on there as well, we're expecting it to be a greater turnout. Uh, one more thing. One of my girls is due to go on FMLA next week, and I should have brought this to you last week. But my head was in elections. I have a part-timer who is going to be filling in for her while she's off for 3 months. Are you guys okay if she right now she works 6 hours Monday through Thursday? Are you okay if she works Fridays every other week? It's not going to cost us any additional money because the one who's going out on FMLA is she only has like 3 days worth of pay. So it's not gonna cost us any additional. But we were thinking the weeks that there is court, that she's going to be filling in she's gonna be doing 2 different courts now. If you guys have a problem with her doing every other Friday.
Ken, there's no issue with that from a union standpoint, correct?
There's not, and I did want to just check the budget. There is an overtime line in your budget. I don't know if you've had to use it at all this year. So any additional funds, I'm confident that there's enough there that on that schedule would definitely cover it.
Yeah, and we won't. She won't be going, we won't need to use the overtime. So we're going to be shorter staffed, for the next couple months, but I mean, the election's getting over with, so we got a little break in that and we'll be fine, but just for court purposes is really what it is.
I don't think any of it, Commissioner Simmons?
How many hours a week determines if they're a full-time employee or not? 29.
2030 is the number that trips us into the full-time for
So
benefits.
one week would be 30-hour a week for her.
Correct.
Does that make it overtime? Does that make her full-time?
It would have to be sustained over a certain number of weeks. I'm gonna say 13 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and then we would be obligated.
Is it
3 months,
13 consecutive?
right?
So it wouldn't be consecutive.
Well, based on,
Consecutive pay periods.
based on what you've just described, we're not gonna be anywhere near that.
No,
How many hours she work now? So it's like 25? Okay. And you're talking about adding potentially 7 hours on a Friday. I mean, obviously
yes,
that's
I mean, we can do whatever
right.
we can do whatever we need to do. I just.
Yeah, we'll definitely double check the contract to make sure that we aren't breaching an obligation we should have, but it doesn't sound like that there's gonna be any issue there.
Even a half a day of Friday is fine. I just, because she'll be doing 2 courts now.
Don't have an issue at all, as long as we don't run into contract issues.
Yeah,
I don't foresee there being a problem.
that's everything, yeah.
Treasurer.
Good evening, Karen Piglowski, your Ogemaw County Treasurer. On your iPads, you'll find your bank summary report showing your negative cash highlighted for the month. I've also included a foreclosure report that's required by statute that shows you the 2022 tax sale for the 2019 taxes, the way the reporting is required by the state. I also want to mention that today is our tax foreclosure sale and it closes at 7 p.m. and bids have been rolling in all day. We have 27 properties that went to sale. And when I last checked before heading over here, 25 of them had bids. So hopefully we have a successful sale today. I also want to give a accolades to our Ogemaw County Land Bank. We were the first in the state of Michigan to complete a round 3 project with the blight elimination and received our funding reimbursement today for one of our projects. So we got accolades from the state for being the first one through, and then apologies for all of the hoops they made us jump through it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff?
No, I'm good.
Mike, I guess you can fall underneath the elected officials and department head reports.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Actually, the department head thing.
Come on up, sir.
So last week, emergency management sent 5 people, 4 volunteers and myself to Petoskey for a 5-day FEMA course. And all 5 of us successfully completed US Forest Administration 0305 All Hazards Incident Management Team course. Type 3, which means that we now have professionally trained personnel right here locally to manage any level incident short of a state level incident or a national level incident. And we would obviously be primary players for the area if there was a state level or national level incident. And we are ready to assist the rest of the Emergency Operations Center and guide them through all of the everything that has to be done, from setting priorities all the way through into reimbursement. So it was a great course. It was very difficult. All 5 of us struggled at some point during the week, but we did walk away successful. So.
Thank you. You have a question?
And about that, I know we have 2 events coming up in August, and that's the active shooter.
Yes, the active shooter is Monday. So we're doing an active shooter exercise on Monday at Whittemore Prescott Schools. We have 3 sessions during the day, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. The sheriff's department's involved, the hospital's involved, the EMS is involved, and our community emergency response team volunteers are involved in that.
And one more question. I got an emergency management expo on the 24th in Rose City at 9, 11, and 1.
Nope, the 9, 11, and 1 is for this Monday. The expo on the 24th, where we currently have 50 partners in disaster response scheduled to be at the park to show their wares to the public. We're going to be serving hot dogs, water, and popcorn. And we chose that place because we do have the splash pad, we have the playground, and we have the pavilion area at our use. Flight care, air ambulance out of Saginaw is planning a landing at 10 a.m. And our search and rescue teams will be having canines there and also some drone activity when there isn't a helicopter around. We're hoping for a real good turnout. Our goal is 500 to 600 people. Hopefully we'll make it, advertising it on social media, Facebook, and all of the local radio stations. We sent it out to 14 stations for public announcements. Not sure who's going to actually put it on. So.
What time does that start?
Sorry?
What time does that start?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is from 10 to 2.
It's an Iron Park?
No,
It's in Rose City.
Rose City Park.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other department heads, elected officials? Jack, do you have anything?
Yeah, actually, one big thing, I sent a message on to Tim already, and we got approved for our grant, and hopefully we'll see some paperwork coming down the road, and we'll be able to do some upgrades to our building.
Tim, you got these documents he's talking about?
Yeah, his message, I got it after bargaining today, so it was definitely good news. And like he said, there'll be some paperwork to sign probably here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully they can get some of their improvements done. I know that building had some issues like with heating and so on, so.
Perfect. Any other elected officials or department heads? Did I miss anybody? Anybody on the phone? Manners from the floor. Motions for adoption? Commissioners report. Commissioner Simmons.
I just pretty much did my report with the emergency manager right here, because I wanted people to be aware of the expo and also the active shooter exercise that they're gonna do on the 11th. So the 11th and the 24th with the emergency management is I think very important. And I just want to have people aware of that.
Commissioner Mayhew.
Didn't have many, the Commission on Aging. They were just happy that their village passed.
Commissioner, Scott.
I attended the city of West Branch this week and we got a number of different things going on. Parks and Rec was, this morning we weren't even have a quorum, but looks like, we just kind of looked over our finances. Looks like we're doing pretty good for last couple of months, of the year. So that's all I got right now.
Commissioner Wiltie.
We had our opioid settlement committee meeting before this meeting today. We did receive back all the data from Michigan State University. It was good to see the data that we received. Turnout wasn't the greatest, to try to capture that data, but we tried. But we do have a lot of good information. We got a really strong board there, a lot of people involved. Tim's gonna work on some funding projections for us. For our next meeting, we're gonna try to get some more of the key players in the county that are involved with this at the table. And hopefully we'll be able to start making some, pretty big decisions here sooner than later. But again, we want to make sure to do this right. So we're not rushing anything, and we got a lot of good, smart people involved. So that is a good thing, and we're just gonna stay course and continue to work at it, and sooner than later, make the best decisions we feel right. Of course, we bring them to the board, and we'll have the final say on it, so.
I attended Richland. This was a busy week. Richland Township meeting was Monday. They have a pretty nice fund balance for the first time in quite a few years that they're pretty excited about, and they brought in Huntington Bank on Monday night. And they're looking at investing $300,000. Gonna play around with that a little bit. They have a policy that they just approved as far as how to do things, because again, this is the first time that they've actually had some extra monies to do that, to hopefully draw some interest, and to continue to make some improvements. They have the Hardwood Lake campground there that helps them, and they also, another reason they have the funding is they have the marijuana facility over there that has also brought them in quite a large sum of money. So also attended Logan Township, which was Wednesday night. That was a fairly quick meeting. They talked about the roads a little bit. They have some attorney fees. Their board is there's only one remaining individual that will remain on that board. So that board is gonna shift and go through a lot of changes. So that's news for them. Opioid committee, I attended that as well. The chairperson, Wiltsey, did get our needs assessment done. Now our next step, we're asking for that asset mapping to find out what is actually in this community, what services, what population they serve, seeing that in writing. And also, which was brought to our attention, like the COVID monies, some of these programs running out of COVID monies and where they're at as far as financially. So I think that's something that we all need to see. Attended 911 last night, I believe. Phone systems is here. That's going to be updated. We went over some budget. Their fund balance is also fairly large. Jesse will bring that information to us. Overtime right now is a little high. They're training 6 new individuals. Their turnover rate there, there's burnout there. They had a couple retirees. Their overtime for the month of September looked pretty high, but then they have somebody who's retired recently that wants to come back for like a 6-month period. So that's gonna greatly diminish. We go over their overtime every single month. The board really looks that over and questions a lot of things, and she keeps a pretty tight handle on that. So I think that's it. It was a busy week. Holy smokes. Anybody miss anything? Commissioner Simmons, did you have something?
Yeah, we have the budget meeting minutes here from the 26th of July.
Yes.
This meeting's been canceled for Friday, August 9th, and rescheduled for Tuesday, August 13th. Is that correct? At 9 AM. And there's presented a couple of budgets that proposals that were given to us to look at, so and we're still looking.
Yeah, just for individuals to know, the opiate settlement committee meeting minutes, the budget committee meeting minutes, housing committee, community meeting minutes, and the law enforcement committee minutes are posted. So that is appreciated for individuals to review and question. General public comment. Any general, come on up, ma'am. Do you know the rules?
No.
You don't know the rules and I don't have them. I'm sure I have them in front of me. Come on up. Let me find them here. First of all, thank you for coming. It's nice to see new faces. You have, the rules are state your name for the record, speak only to the chairperson, stand behind the podium when speaking, limit comments to 3 minutes or fewer, and follow the direction of the chairperson when speaking. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Irma Lurby.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I just have a question and I don't know whether it should come to you or should it come to the law enforcement committee or the sheriff. But I voted for the millage for the sheriff, okay? My understanding was that it was to maintain the deputies that he had. And that they would be out on the streets patrolling. And now I hear that we have an on-call deputies. So I would like somebody to explain to me that what that millage said and what we're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I believe that is still the case at this point in time, that there's somebody on call from 12 AM to 6 AM, but you're always welcome to direct your questions to the sheriff.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Irma.
Come on up, ma'am. Your name?
It's Karen Michael, Horton Township Supervisor, as well as President of the Library.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm here for one major reason personally. You know, I approached the board a long time ago about our library issue. And I want to thank anyone who said, and I know I'm only supposed to talk to Jenny, but I want to thank anyone and everyone who supported to help get our millage through. Because we want to get back to our regular services, add time in the evening to have, so adults can come in and get back into our story time, okay? And I did come personally to thank you for that reason, because I am anal about the library.
Thank you.
Put that.
Very glad that that passed, and thank you for coming.
One more thing.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. Breck, Tim, do you need to have something together for Breck to be cleared by 4 o'clock on Tuesday, or the millage issue is dead for the jail? Am I correct?
You are correct.
So are we moving forward? I'm
Well,
sorry, are we moving forward?
Sorry, ma'am. Right here.
I know
What
you
we've
are.
decided.
Are we moving forward or we don't know?
What we've decided is have it on for discussion at 3 PM at committee of the
Okay,
whole.
3 PM.
So there will be more to come then.
I'll probably be back if I can.
I hope you join us.
But I want to thank you again and thank those who stepped up and helped that library because we care. And you'll have a formal thank you in the newspaper too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment in the room? Come on up, sir. State your name.
James Larry Chisby. No, I'm not spell that or.
K-I, S as in Sam, B as in boy, Y. I'm not sure if this is for the county, but I think it is. I live in Edwards Township. And if going down Cook Road where it ends on Edward, you pass Rowell and the next street is Lehman, okay? And on these streets, there's usually a light that tells you there's an intersection. Well, the one on Lehman has gone out, okay? So I don't know who you contact or what, but it needs to be redone. Put a new bulb in it.
That lady right behind you.
Yeah. It's new
Lehman
bulb.
Road.
Okay,
Karen Michael, call me anytime.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is that it?
That was, well, there is something else, but I'm waiting.
Okay. Any other public comment in the room? Any public comment on the phone?
The new supervisor.
Any public comment on the phone?
It's unofficial, we have not finished
Yeah.
the canvas yet.
A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good night, everyone. Keep saying.
Correct, I'm gonna get a draft in the morning.